Today we are doing Strictly Special Part 4. So to kick off this episode, I'd like to first start to say about the group dance. Personally, I thought that was amazing. And like with the girls, they all had their hair down and they're like whipping their hair everywhere, which made me laugh, and I just really love their routine and everything. So that's the first thing. Now, secondly, let's start with the Strictly board. So, let's start with Michelle. So Michelle was doing the salsa and I loved it. Like her dress and her hair was like mad. I've got a thing with hair today. I don't know why. And like she was like very sassy and everything, and she's actually really good. Now let's talk about Dev. So Dev, I've got to say, you weren't as good as last week. So, but like I think you could have stepped it up a bit. Like you just need to work on it a bit more. I feel like if you did have a second trial, it should have been a lot better. Now let's talk about Will. Now Will, I don't know why. This probably sounds like really weird, but I feel like you looked a bit like, you know, outside the Queen's Palace, she has those guards. You just needed to add a hat and then there you go. You've got the correct outfit for standing outside the castle, like, yeah. And what I think some people don't realise is that you are disabled. Like, I completely forgot that you were disabled until somebody mentioned it. Like, when you dance, you don't remember that, which is, like, really strange. Next up, Saffron Barker. So, I think Saffron was, like, nice and floaty, and she was doing a contemporary piece, which I love. So obviously I love contemporary, it is my favourite. But I liked how she was like nice and flowy, and I liked her costume. It was really nice, and how she dedicated it to her grandparents, which I thought was very moving. Now let's talk about Alex, Scott and Neil. Now, I just don't know why, but I didn't like it. Like, I'm sorry, but there was something about it that I didn't like, and I'm extremely sorry, but I didn't like it. So, Emma Barton and Anton. Thank goodness this week there was no false teeth, and that's all I'm going to say about that. So, now let's talk about Chris. He just made me laugh. He hardly knew what he was doing, but the way he like expressed it, he went full out, even though he didn't have a clue what he was doing. And it's like bam, 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 and I just found it hilarious. And I loved the dance, loved his like fluffy shoulders. Like, that was great. Now let's talk about Mike and where is she? Katia. Honestly, Katia, she cried so much. And like so much. It was very moving that she cried so much. It was tears of joy, so that's good. So moving on, we've got Mr. Hips. That's what I'm calling him from now on. He did the rumba. His hips were like pow, 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 and he did like the figure of 8 thingy. And like his hips were like proper good. And then you just see the judges bursting out laughing. And Shirley's comments are always hilarious when it comes to him and Oshie. It's mad. Now let's talk about Karim. Karim, as the judges say, you won the best dances of the night. And personally, I agree. And I don't know why, but you're like really good. Like, you're better than the others, if you know what I mean. Like, you got 38. Who gets 38? Although, haven't you got 38 before? I don't know. You get like really high scores, which is like really good, and I think you've always been like top of the leaderboard, is it? So now we've got Johannes and Catherine. I'm a single lady. I love that song, and I love the colour pink. So, and I like getting my nails done. So personally, that was just the best. Like, I remember when I was younger dancing around to that song, like in my pyjamas and stuff, around the house a lot. And like, Oh, I just loved it because they're like dressed in pink, and they get their nails done. It was like great. Like, personally, I loved it. Okay, now let's talk about football guy David James. So, big improvement. Like, you were originally not very good. You were very staccato, is that the word? But I think this week you've definitely picked up yourself. You've really pushed yourself and you really have made a difference. Now let's talk about Emma and Ali Ash. As you know, they were in a dance-off, but I personally didn't like them. I just didn't feel like their dance was good enough. And like, okay, it had a few tricks and everything, but I didn't think it was executed well enough. And I think to get the execution mark, she could have pushed it a little bit further, because like personally, I didn't like it. But like I said before, she was in a dance-off. Well, her opponent was, unfortunately, Dev and Diane. As you know, they were one of my favourites, and I think they could have got a bit further, but unfortunately, they get the red pen. So, here it goes. We say goodbye to Dev and Diane. This is like really sad, guys. Bye, Dev. Now it's time for Diane, our former runner-up of Strictly 2018-19. So, that's it for the red pen. Say goodbye. So, unfortunately, we did have to say goodbye to Dev and Diane, which was very sad. So, that's it for DexTv. See you next time. Bye!